Okay, picture this. You have this brilliant or killer idea that you're dying to pitch to your boss and colleagues. And then when you started talking, no one else listened. It's like crickets. No one paid attention. Then suddenly there's this one person or someone else chimes in with the same idea, probably clearer, with more precise words and phrases. And then suddenly everyone started to cheer, like, wow, great, cool idea. Frustrating, isn't it? So in this video, we're going to talk about this idea that it's not what you say, but how you say it. So many professionals in Asia struggle with being taken seriously at work because of their English accent and pronunciation. We cannot deny that there's an impact on how we are perceived at work. Our goal is not to sound like a generic newscaster, but at least be a good communicator. They say that when you communicate well, you'll never go hungry. People unconsciously make judgments depending on how you sound or speak. Like what we said, there's this accent bias. People perceive you as less intelligent or maybe incompetent or even less trustworthy if you don't sound nice. So, what are the common mistakes that reduce your credibility? First is mispronounced words. So, you have this native tongue, like your native language, and sometimes there are rules in your native language that cannot be applied to English. For instance, there are words with some letters, like letter S. Probably you don't pronounce it the way you pronounce it in English. So let's take a look at some examples. This is a classic one. Very. So there should be a sound of V here, V, and then R. So with other speakers, they tend to mispronounce V as B, like boy. So instead of very, you say belly. Imagine you're trying to give a compliment to your boss, like when you observe them working, or maybe your colleague, and you see them working like very fast, and you say, boss, your belly fat. So instead of appearing as a compliment, it tends to be an insult. So they might look at themselves and say, belly fat? I have a lot of belly fat? But you intended to say very fast. So you work very fast. So take note of that. That's very. The V here, you should pronounce it clear like a V, V. Then R, okay. You don't need to sound like a, you don't need to sound like an Italian, like with a strong R, like very, very. It's just a soft R, like very, very. So it's not belly, it's very. Another word, thirsty versus dirty. Be careful with the th here. The th here should be like a soft, a voiceless th. So there are two th sounds. One is a voiced and the other one is voiceless. So when you say thirsty, that's voiceless. So this is your tongue. This is your teeth, and then another teeth here. So and then try to let the air come out of your mouth, like thir, thirsty, thirsty. So it should not sound like dirty. Okay, so if you say thirsty and you blurt it out dirty, that will change the whole meaning. Okay, so be careful with these words. Thirsty. Again, thirsty. This is another classic one. Important versus impotent. So you tell your boss, you're a very important person. That can insult someone in the room, especially in a meeting, or you tell your colleague, you're very impotent. So be careful with that. It should be important, important. So some people they say important, and American way is important. Again, important. It's not impotent. So there are many words that we tend to mispronounce. So that's a very common one. So that's the reason why you are not perceived as someone who is well versed in English. You may be perceived as not articulate. Okay. So it starts with how you speak and how you pronounce the words. Number two is if you speak too softly, like you're in a meeting and then it's like you're whispering, like, I don't know. How can I present my slide? You don't want to sound like you are not sure. So you don't want to sound like someone who's just whispering and no one else can understand your point or what you're trying to say. And another reason would be speed. Okay, so some English speakers tend to speak so fast or too fast. You're trying to rush things because you would like to get to the point or you would like the conversation to end. So you try to speak too fast, like a rapper, like Slim Shady or Snoop Dogg. But you don't want to sound that way, okay? You don't want to sound super slow and you don't want to sound super fast, just in the middle, okay? So that's the key. So another thing is your tone. It can undermine the most brilliant ideas if you don't have the right tone. Intonation is the music of your voice. It's like the pitch of saying things like yes and yes. So there's a difference when you say, can I present my slide? Or I will present my slide. So you declare that you will present your slide. So you will be perceived as more confident if you don't use this rising tone too much and make it appear like you're not sure about what you're talking about or what you're saying. Another tip that I can give you is grouping your thoughts. So you can say thought groups. Okay. So time to gather all of your thoughts and put them together. And between those thoughts, you can put like a small pause. Okay. So with that technique, it makes your speech easier to follow and it makes it easier for you to emphasize certain points. So just to be clear, you don't need a perfect accent, but what you need is to be confident in your speech. Okay. Your accent is part of who you are. So don't try to erase it. Our goal is to be confident in your speech, but also don't be afraid to improve on certain areas where you can be at level 2 or level 3, level 4, level 10. So don't be afraid to explore and improve yourself on how you talk to people, how to communicate with your boss and your colleagues. Remember that even the most eloquent speaker started somewhere. So if you find value in this video, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, or maybe share it with your friends. Now, if you would like to have one-on-one coaching or group tutorial, you can also reach out by clicking on the link below. So, see you in the next one. Bye.